Hey everybody, it's Colette Baron-Reid. We're here for another great conversation with one of my team members. We have Anna again, who is the Headmistress of Magic and Transformation for Oracle School. Very excited to have another convo with you. What are we talking about today?
We are going to talk about shadow work and how it can lead to a more unique, authentic, and inspired life.
Okay. And what is shadow work? I think we should talk about that first, right?
Yes, please.
You know, shadow work, as you know, is really super important to me. It's also part of what we teach at Oracle School and some of what we actually lead people through at Oracle Palooza Virtual. It's in all my events. And I think people get scared of it because they hear the word shadow and like, well, something is hidden. But it's so true. All of us have wounds. All of us have wounds that are active in our stories, right? So shadow work is the name for the process of looking at those pieces of ourselves with compassion, with love and understanding, and discovering ways in which we can transform them into something that no longer keeps us stuck in areas of our life that we don't want to be in anymore.
So, what are the benefits of shadow work?
So you actually said that in your first half of the first question, which is how does it lead us to a unique, authentic, inspired life, right? So, you know, when we do our shadow work, we set ourselves free from parts of ourselves that have been hidden from us or that we've refused to look at. You know, some of those grief and shame and guilt and all kinds of things that might have accumulated throughout our lives that then become kind of ingrained in the patterns of our lives. So when we free ourselves from the pattern, all of a sudden we can be more ourselves. Because within us is a blueprint of something greater than what we already are, something that we could be proud of, something that, you know, we could create our dreams, we could make a life for ourselves that we love, that is meaningful, and that is unique. We're not like anybody else. Each person has its own, like there's no such thing as exact the same snowflake, and that we're like that. So we have all these unique, diverse experiences, and that make us that special note in a symphony, if you will, that's needed to have the harmony. We can't be all singing the same note, right? So then when we're authentic, we're more us, then we become more us. And we're inspired when we include the concept of the universe, source, God, whatever that spiritual quality to your life. Inspired means of the spirit, right? So we become, you know, we become inspired to be more, or we can be inspired to give more, right? To be more in service to others. So when the shadow work is done, that's the big benefit, is the unique, authentic, inspired life.
Okay. So, one of the things you often refer to in transformation is becoming.
Right.
So, how do you integrate shadow work into your becoming?
Oh, that's a really good question. So first of all, becoming means we're evolving. So we're never static, right? So we are always changing. We're not repeating the same things over and over again. So we're changing. We want to become someone new. We want to emerge from the caterpillar. We want to emerge out of that cocoon as a butterfly. How do we do that? Well, we have to integrate that work, the shadow work, which is the healing of our wounds, by addressing them, by looking at that, and then by making it practical for ourselves. So we learn that, oh, this may never totally go away, but we can start to recognize when the pattern comes up, and we realize, oh, I have a choice. I mean, we always say, right, in Oracle School, that's interesting. So we do it without judgment. Instead of saying, oh my God, this happened to me again, we're like, oh, that's interesting. This pattern showed up again. That's the wound. The shadow's in operation right now. I'm going to take a beat. I'm going to put a pin in it. I'm going to step back. And that's what integration is the user-friendly approach to dealing with the part of you that's still active. We all have patterns, and we're not on automatic pilot then. Or if we do get into automatic pilot, we cycle back. We go, okay, ooh, that's what happened. I reacted. So now I want to respond. And eventually it becomes second nature, and that is no longer part of your story. But it does take time. Integration takes time, and you have to let it happen. So there's no perfectionism here at all. That's possible in transformation. You just have to allow the time.
Yes. And then that's the other thing that I know you refer to all the time is that we're not on a time frame,
Yep.
and that doing the shadow work piece is so important to improving your life.
Yeah. I mean, those the shadow repeats itself in patterns in our lives. And if we are going to improve our life, some things have to go. Certain behaviors, certain the ways we think about things, the way we see ourselves. You know, that is the benefit, obviously, of the shadow work, the integration of that shadow work, and then, of course, the becoming, right? That we become someone new because we've done that work. So there's this amazing kind of evolution that has its own timetable. It has its own organic quality to it. We just have to be willing to commit to seeing it and be curious about it on a daily basis as it comes up for us and as we make better choices. So it is always the improving our life part is about making a choice that we won't regret, right? That we will, that because we're like, oh, I did that again. I mean, how often have we said that? You and I have said that,
Right.
even though I teach this stuff, right? I'm like, oh, but then I laugh. I go, oh man, here we go again. Well, that was an interesting trigger. I see. And then we can laugh. And it's also having a sense of humor. You want to improve your life. You want to see yourself not just with clarity and staring at yourself with a magnifying glass. You want to have a sense of humor about it. You have to love yourself and love life and be compassionate with yourself, right?
Yes, that is exactly what I was going to point out, because as you said at the beginning, people are often afraid of shadow work because they're afraid of looking. But the way you teach it has always been so gentle and loving towards ourselves.
Well, I had to learn how to do that. So once, and that was a very interesting process too, about when you look at the quality of shadow work and the need for self-compassion and self-forgiveness. It isn't about condoning the patterns or whatever. You have to be accountable for the energy that you put out into the world. If everything is energy, and we now proven that it's energy, like that's not like a dumb new age term. Energy is actually scientifically proven, and energy is what we put out into the world. So if we keep putting out that unhealed parts of ourselves and refuse to do it, that's what we're putting that out, and we're going to get that back. So we have to love ourselves through this. It's not our fault. That's the other thing. We can't blame ourselves. That's a pattern that's ingrained in us. It's conditioned into us. So it's a lot nicer and kinder if we learn to be compassionate with ourselves. Therefore, we can be more compassionate and empathetic towards others too. All of that then comes into play, right? And I think that if we learn to be gentle with ourselves, well, we're certainly gentler with other people, and we allow people to be as they are.
Yeah, that's great. Why don't we pull a card on how to integrate our shadow work with our becoming?
Why not? Okay, good. Let me get the cards. All right, again, we are using the Enchanted Map Oracle, and I'm going to pull a card. How does our shadow work help in our becoming? And I'm just going to pull a card and see what comes up. Ah, this is very interesting. We got home. So this is the card, home. And that is about our personal authenticity. It's about who we are when we land in ourselves. Like, who are we? We come home to ourselves when we, that's the result of integrating this shadow work with and that leads us to our becoming, because it leads us home. It really leads us home to ourselves. Without doing the shadow work, we keep repeating, we keep going back and wondering, why am I back in this place? Why am I back in this place? And you feel like the world is happening to you or at you because you're consistently working off your conditioning. And here you're liberating yourself from it. And you're saying, oh, I could become someone new, and I could land in that place.
That card was spot on. You couldn't have, you can't make it up, as we say at Oracle School.
Right. Yes, we really say in Oracle School, you can't make this shit up, right? Mystical, nerdy pirate here, right? Yes, we do. We even have that written on top of their booklets. Oh my gosh. So on the road to becoming and claiming your authentic self, We do some shadow work, we go deep in learning about ourselves, and we remember that our dreams count. And that's what we're going to be doing at Oracle Palooza Virtual. So there is definitely, I know, a link somewhere. Please click on it and join us. It's going to be a weekend that will change your life. I know it will. And I'm going to see you there too. Thanks for watching. Take care. Thanks, Anna. This is great. Can't make this shit up. Yep. Bye.